Hello everyone, I'm Brophy1322 and welcome to a special off-season edition of the Content Creator Livestream Track Showcase series. It's week 131, but we're not doing the usual thing that we would do for these Content Creator streams. It is the off-season of my content, and I decided I was going to take a break from these Content Creator streams, as I was mentioning this time last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. But we're going to be doing an extra special one covering LSGP, Los Santos GP. Let's see the progression of LSGP first before we go into it. So, Alex, and that'll give me a chance to explain what we're doing here. Again, the submissions are still open for your own content creator stuff. If you want to submit circuits to be showcased on these streams, the links in the description, brewery.com/verified, and again, all the links for all the tracks that we see tonight are also going to be in the description, as they always are. But these aren't submitted specifically through the community verified program, and the let's go old school with the entity. These aren't tracks that have been submitted in the usual way. So, Los Santos Grand Prix, Los Santos GP, is one of the first tracks I ever made back in 2014, and the idea of it was to be like more of a proper Grand Prix circuit in GTA, but back then I wanted it to have a bit of a GTA twist, so it had a crossover, which you'll see because we're going to play the original version, LSGP Classic as it is now known, and this is what I created back in 2014. And then it progressed into the Stunt version, which we'll see as well, and that's had little bits that have, it's been tinkered with over the years, but it's a bit long in the tooth now. Like, that was created in 2017, and even though there have been like some improvements made, it's still it's certainly showing its age. So I decided to hit up the Content Creator Hub, which I recommend everybody who's interested in creating tracks in GTA join. It's a Discord channel, Discord server. You can find it, again, that's linked on the communities page, which is linked in the description on my website. So I approached the Content Creator Hub, and they sometimes run creator challenges. It can be various different things, limited props on a specific road, or having to utilize a specific part of the map or something like that, and then you get a lot of creators basically creating it to the same rules, and you get different outcomes. So I decided to create an LSGP creator challenge, and we've had 6 submissions. That was about a month ago. There've been 6 submissions, and tonight will be the first time that I see any of them. And we're going to showcase them all. We're going to showcase the all the sub creations that those in the Content Creator Hub community have made for this creator challenge for the same circuit. There have been some changes to LSGP over the years, but the idea of it was to stick to how the circuit is now. We're obviously seeing the original version first. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they've come up with, because there's some very talented creators in there. And if nothing else, I'm excited just to see the different ways that they've chosen to approach the same problem. Ultimately, I'd like to sort of have one that I pick that I think will be the best, and that will become like the official version for the future or something. But for the moment, there will be sort of a winner that we declare. I'm not going to be the sole chooser of that. But for the moment, all I want to do is just showcase these tracks and get them out there and experience them for the first time for myself as well. But the first 2 tracks that we do, including this one and the next one, they aren't from the challenge. Don't create a track like this if you wanna get anywhere these days. This is very much outdated. But this is LSGP original version, LSGP Classic. This is exactly the same setup as what I created back in 2014 with the crossover, with all the lampposts available. You know, back then it was 50 props and we didn't really use them even to cover over lampposts or anything. It was very raw. And this is the original version. And this is where it all started for LSGP. It actually isn't. There was a very minor different version that only the true OGs will know about. But that I'm pretty sure there's no footage of that anywhere. There might be like in a super early video or something, but yeah, this is where it all started, and I guess we'll see the progression through the years of LSGP. If you want to see the various different changes of LSGP and how it's transformed over the years, just watch the Multi-Class Endurance Championship seasons from 2014 season 1 to, you know, the last season last year. LSGP's had a few sort of layout changes every now and then, and the Stunt version has had tweaks made, but most of it's largely the same. Doesn't have this crossover anymore though. Well, the crossover's still there, but there's a bridge now. LSGP's had a few layout changes to kind of fix the crossover. The crossover is something that I thought, you know, would be a bit fun when I was first creating it and wasn't getting serious about it. But then when racing started to get a little bit more serious on GTA, I thought, okay, the crossover is really not going to work for a proper track anymore. So then we had different versions of LSGP that got rid of the crossover by changing the layout entirely. And then on the Stunt versions, it became possible to sort of reinstate the original layout by utilizing a bridge for the crossover. So we've essentially gone back to the original layout. But obviously significantly updated. So the layout is going to be exactly the same as what you've just seen. That's the other thing that hasn't changed. Well, it has changed, but the current versions are back to the original layout. In the Classic, in the Entity, I had to use it back when the Entity was the best. I do miss the end flip. You used to always be able to like tilt forward and flip off the thing at on the middle of the road. That was always fun. The original layout wasn't through the parking lot tunnel. The inner loop of the original layout was, which is what Rockstar verified. Rockstar verified LSGP inner loop back on old gen. And that is the one that you did the hairpin at the start, and then you did a right-hand turn immediately down the hill into the car park and then out of the tunnel. I don't know why Rockstar decided to verify the inner loop, because it was just like an offshoot, but hey. The other layout that was used for Season 3 I think was pretty cool too. The one that you did the right-hand turn out of the tunnel and then all the way around and did the like chicane backwards. It's had some interesting layout changes. There was one that had a really long back straight, and then another one that turned right before the final corner with another hairpin. But I figured there was a point at which this version, it's this version mainly, this is the Stunt version, this version's gone through a lot of different changes, but when it came to creating a Stunt version of the track, I thought with the ability to sort of, we'll do 3 laps on this as well. Supers B again. With the ability to like create a bridge using stunt props, it was like we might as well try to get back the original layout with the crossover and use stunt props to create a bridge, because you know the original layout is the original layout. It's kind of got it's got a bit of nostalgia, you know. We're driving those same roads even now, just with better propping and all that kind of stuff. So this one's had a bit of tinkering to it as well. I've tinkered with it. I've, you know, put some different bits of roads in, parts of other tracks. There's a bit of one of Baggin's tracks in here as well. But it's even so, with all the tinkering, it's still showing its age. Let's use... what would have been something right for the time for this one? Maybe the Osiris. That's probably top dog when this was created. So we haven't seen any of the showcase tracks yet, any of the creator tracks. We're getting in. I wanted to showcase the original and then the current version as it is, but it's old, before we see the up-to-date versions that people have been doing for this creator battle, so you can see sort of the difference, the progression. You know, the track is so old that it has that. Top 3 in the playlist to the back, harmonic start on whoever's at the front, between 10 and 15 seconds. Stupid kids. Oh yeah, the Osiris. Oh yeah. That's a good point. All the stunt stuff came with Cunning Stunts, which had the RE7B, which demolished everything. So the Osiris would have been long dead in terms of the top of the supers list. Maybe it was the Wagner that was the number 1 when this track was made. 2017, possibly. But yeah, it was the original layout. It was the original circuit, the race version, without all the stunt props, that had all the layout changes. And then it's this one that's had sort of the propping changes through the years. Like this smoothed corner here wasn't there on the original version of this track, and but the layout has remained same and true to the original. I mean, you can see the progression of sort of 4 or 5 years from the original with no propping whatsoever to this. It's already a big difference. Lamppost removal. When that became a thing, I went back to this track and removed some lampposts. But I've never sort of, I mean, I don't really go into the creator anymore. I'm, you know, way out of practice with the creator. I obviously created the tracks originally, but it's not something I do anymore. So I've never, you know, I don't have all the modern techniques, and I've never sort of gone back and tried to create an LSGP from scratch. So that's why it's going to be interesting to see what these top creators in the community, the content creator hub, have been able to do with LSGP, and how different it will be from this version. God damn it. I do remember that TS Nobody. That's still ingrained in my memory. This is the version that was used in the last MCEC last year, yes. But it's still somewhat different to the stunt version that was used in previous MCECs as well. Again, the MCEC is the perfect showcase of how LSGP has changed over the years, because we've always done races on it every season. One more lap and then we'll get on to the proper stuff. Should be interesting though to see. I guess, you know, this track wouldn't be verified as part of the community verified program now. It's not good enough. I don't think it would do terribly, but it certainly wouldn't get a full, I doubt. Curious to see how each different creator has interpreted the track to their own tastes and the things that they've decided to focus on. So the rules, I mean, I can go over the rules that I set out for this creator challenge. Basically, the challenge is to recreate the entire track that we've just seen as each creator sees fit, but the overall layout has to remain the same. So it's the same layout from what we just saw. The red and white color scheme has to be maintained, but doesn't have to, you know, it doesn't have to be the crazy, you know, it doesn't have to be red and white everywhere, but it at least needs to be maintained as the general theme of the track. Grandstands and other motorsport related props should be used to make the track feel more like a proper racing circuit, and aesthetics are important, but not at the expense of the driving experience. The tracks needed to have a good balance. Again, top 3 in the playlist to the back. So when it comes to function, it should be classified as an event circuit as per the community verified category. So lamppost removal, you know, or blocking of poles and things like that should be good for high level racing events. We'll go for 4 laps. We'll do the usual 10 miles for every track. Should we do the same class? Should we do Supers B for every race, or should we mix it up? I feel like we should do Supers B every time since we've started with that. Or we should at least keep the same tier every time, whatever we choose for this first one. Maybe Sports B would be better. I like that you check the map even though the layout is your own. Let's do Sports B. Every race we'll do Sports B. Keep it the same. Just so sports are going to be a little bit slower, give us a bit more time to look at things, but still fast enough to, you know, enjoy the track. Yeah, props should obviously be used economically for model memory and things like that, minimize the potential for frame rate issues and keeping the driving experience solid. Modern smoothing techniques in order to minimize the amount of brake boosting and boosting in general. Track limits should largely remain the same, like the locations of apexes, for example, but wiggle room is okay when choosing apex locations when fixture removal has been considered, because the current version that we had only used 20 fixture removals. Pit lane is required, obviously, ideally in the same location as the previous track that we just saw, but the two shorter versions of LSGP also would need to be made, so that should be kept in mind. So those were all the rules basically for this creator challenge. And first up, the PS4. We got 3 PS4 submissions, 1 on Xbox One and 2 on PC, so we're going to be switching the platforms during the stream. First creator is Fiolence. Fiolence? Is it Fiolence or Fiolence? I don't know how to say it properly. So let's see. Let's see how I'm just curious. Like, I think some people have also just like violence. Yes, okay, violence. I think some people have also, like, you know, people have had their own visions of how to do the track, and some people have gone their own way just as a way to sort of showcase how things could be done differently as well. So I'm just generally curious to see the different styles of people creating the same thing. None of it's going to be any better or worse objectively, I'm pretty sure. It's just all going to be a taste thing and an expression thing, and I like that idea. So a much wider open for the bridge. I don't think I'm keeping this just a race car behind for long on a bumpy city circuit. Yeah, the extra prop usage, the prop removal is going to be interesting because, yeah, like I said, the original stunt track didn't have any of that. I should have gotten everybody to do a pit stop, actually. Everybody do a pit stop in this race if you can still hear. But yeah, the prop removal is up to 40 now, isn't it? And the stunt version that we just saw has only used 20 prop removal. Interestingly, the bridge comes a little bit further down over the tunnel exit. Hopefully a dune can still fit through there. But yeah, the increased prop removal, that's a nicer corner with it being much more wider, like wide open like that. And then the lack of the bumps around this section is going to be nice. General smoothness is done so much better than obviously the original stunt version. I mean, even I did some of that smoothing on that version and it was haphazardly put together. Minimizing some brake boosting and curb boosting and things. Oh my god, those children outside. I think their goal is just to make as much noise as humanly possible. Alright, let's do a pit stop. So pit lane location has kept the same location that we had previously. Works nicely. I like that pit lane location. Just because it's like the undulation of it, and you come back up to meet the track on the elevation change. It's nice. I like the addition of that that little red and white prop on the apex of that right-hander. just makes that corner a little bit easier to see, which is nice. I can see the benefit of the prop removal on some of these corners. It's making a big difference. Because LSGP always felt quite claustrophobic, and anything that can be done with the prop removal to make it feel a little bit wider and more open is nice. All the creators and links to all of these tracks are in the description as always. Pit lane exit works nice. I like the fence across there. Like one of the nice things with LSGP, that was something that I always generally tried to do with my tracks back in the early days when I made them originally, was the idea that you can see other cars at different parts of the circuit. There's those vision points where you're seeing cars further ahead and whatever. I think Olympic GP is probably one of the major showcases of that, because you're constantly running into cars everywhere. But like the hairpin and the right-hander being so close together like that, the fencing between them is really nice because it allows, you know, some protection from each other, whilst also you're still able to see the other cars. Oh, made it work. Ah, and then botched it. No. Did everybody do a pit stop? By the way. Yeah, we're going to do a pit stop in every one of these races from now on. And you're not allowed to do a pit stop on the last lap. I didn't do a pit stop. It was just a mess, GT driver. I was slow, you hit me in the back, it knocked me over into was it the 8F? It was just a mess. Very nice introduction to that one. Fiolence or Sealance. Presumably the same thing. Thank you for the submission. Thanks everybody that we're going to showcase tonight for submitting. Top 3 in the playlist to the back harmonic start. It will be on me between 10 and 15 seconds. Thank you to the members, by the way. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna do a pit lane. Why is it set to rally? We're gonna do a pit stop in every one of the races. So we'll do the same sports B for every race. I'll try to use a different car each time then. But yeah, not allowed to do a pit stop on the last lap. So you can do it on at the end of the first lap, at the end of the second lap, or at the end of the third lap. Not at the end of the fourth lap. I wonder what layout this will have. I know, right? I'm so curious. I seem to recognize that layout. Yeah, these children are a bloody nightmare. Like they're just so obnoxiously loud for no reason than other than to be loud. Alright, I'll use the Jester this time. And this one is from Benstorr. This is Benstorr's impression and variation. I mean, I am an old man. Well, I'm not. I'm 31. But I'm certainly a lot older than these kids and they're annoying me. Yes, there is somewhere where you can submit my tracks, but not for, only for me to race if they're good enough. There's the link in the chat. They're oh, impressive visuals with the grandstand. I turned on something on YouTube called Super Thanks. And it's kind of like super chats on stream, but for videos. And 2 people have already given super thanks on some of the testing videos, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for the extra support. Right then, another take. Again, the fencing around this area seems to work really well, I think. Yeah, that's nice and smooth, that. Does a dune fit under the tunnel? I think that was one of the things that we thought about when creating the stunt version originally. When Evil mainly started creating the stunt version that we saw second in this playlist. But that was one of the things, like, that was, we didn't want to come into the tunnel too much with the bridge for the crossover. Look at this grandstand. I knew there'd be a grandstand somewhere in one of Benstorr's tracks. You can't go down that side. Interesting, he's blocked that off. Not a single... We've raced dunes on this track. I'm sure we have. That's the only criteria that matters. Does a dune fit? Alright, I'll do my pit stop on lap 1. Same place, same idea. Very similar to the previous one in terms of some of the sort of choices made from a functional perspective. Aesthetically quite different. Oh my god, that was scary. I shouldn't have done my pit stop when I did. I just put me back into the pack. Taking names. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'll read it at the end of the race. Ooh. It is particularly smooth, this version, although there's a few areas that are left open to the curb boosting, like on the outside there. That grandstand is so cool. It's very nicely made. I'm really curious why that side of the track is blocked off though. That's often a that's often a route. I think we've used it a few times even during the races in the first few. Kind of makes it into a pinch point. Remember, everybody's got to do pit stops. I do like the catch fencing, it's a nice touch. It's functional and it feels like real racetracky aesthetics that were part of the brief. Again, that prop on the corner which just shows the corner better. Nice and smooth, this one. I really like the smoothness on the. Obviously, that grandstand is like super impressive at the hairpin. But I really like the smoothness on the downhill just before the tunnel. That feels really nice. That's always been a really sort of tricky corner. Quite difficult to navigate because there's a bump in the middle of it and it's on the downhill. It's always a bit iffy. It feels really nice on this version. Coming out of their pit stops, I managed to keep the lead despite all that nonsense. This bit, that's really smooth, really nice. Worked the undercut a treat. Well, it wasn't really an undercut, to be fair. I was in the lead when I came into the pit lane for my first stop. See that grandstand for the last time? Very impressive creations on this one from an aesthetic perspective. Some of those grandstands are really cool. I'm a sucker for all that kind of stuff. And the catch fencing looks really good with some of the pit boards and yeah, very nice. I mean, I guess this is what I should have expected. Some of the highest quality circuits, we've already seen that. Like, both have been. When you compare both of those that we've seen so far, we're only a third of the way through the tracks, in comparison to the stunt track we played second, and then the original track that we played first. It's like, it's not even on the same. It's just so much better. Feels really good. They feel nice to race on too. Arthur with the $20 super chat. I don't even play GTA anymore, but I'll support you forever. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. That's a lot. $20 donation. Thank you so much. Top 3 in the playlist, to the back. Harmonic start on whoever's left at the front. The last G, Fred, you said. And reconnected. I wonder how YouTube's going to treat that. We disconnected for like 10 seconds on the stream. I don't know whether YouTube's going to like keep it as the same video on the same stream or what. I don't know how YouTube will treat that. I hope it's not going to be two separate videos. Right, 4 laps. Just a short buffer, just skipped ahead. Okay, good. Right. Same thing again. Sport B, top 3 to the back. Now people can't say, oh, he wins on his own track, what a scum. Although the layout, to be fair, after all this time, all these MCEC races, I think at this point, if I didn't know the layout, there'd be some serious problems. Yeah, so the season, the next season, we're in the off season, August. The new season starts in September. All the information's on Brookfield.com/schedule. You scroll to the bottom and you've got all the information about how the seasons work. The Ron livery for the Combat S2, I've just seen somebody ask about that in chat. You had to have played the game the week before the Combat S2 came out, and then Rockstar have just made it available for people. What do I use this time? I guess I'll go for the Massacro this time. Again, Arta, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thank you very much. And yeah, there's no content creator streams this month through the off season, except for this one, obviously, which is a special one. This is our third and final race, third and final submission for the LSGP Creator Challenge and on PS4. And this one was made by Jacko Wacko, who made an LSGP version, I don't know how, I want to say years ago, but it might be more like months ago, I don't know exactly. Maybe a year ago, maybe last year at some point. And I think I tried it, I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure I did, but then he's gone back and looked at it and changed it a little bit, I think, so that it matches up with the brief that was part of the challenge. So we're getting sort of an updated version of that as his submission. That's not good. Nice and smooth there. This, in fact, has no character. Oh yeah, it was his track that I said about the lack of character, wasn't it? I remember now. We'll see if there's more character on this one. The OG no character track. That right hander's really opened up with the lamppost removal. There was a stipulation, by the way, when we get to the PC tracks, obviously I've talked about it at length during these content creator streams, that PC has extra features available to it with the dev creator and using mods and things, but there was a stipulation that that wouldn't be allowed for this creator battle, so that everyone's you know, creating to the same restrictions. So the PC versions don't have, and it won't have any of those extra little advantages. Ooh, that apex is brought out a bit. Remember, pit stops for everybody. Can't do it on the last lap, so only 2 laps to do it on. Should have done my pit stop there, really. So this version does feel really nice to drive. Nice and smooth around here. Nice smoothness around here too. And the apex here is completely different because it's so much wider. And then the apex on the final corner caught me out because it's tighter as well. So a few small differences. That apex is brought out a little bit more as well. I do not envy the testers who have to try and judge these. I know, right? It's going to be difficult to pick a winner already. They're all such high quality, that's the thing. I think this one keeps it more in line with, like... I should have done the opposite. This one keeps it more in line with sort of the original, I guess, Stunt version from a, like the basics point of view. But it's probably the most solid of the three, I would say, so far, in terms of a, like cleanest driving experience and general experience across the whole track. Anyone who hasn't done a pit stop, you got to do it on this at the end of this lap. It's definitely got more character than it did before. Makes the hairpin there like a proper stop as well. Like it was already a good stop, a good braking zone, but you're at a much higher speed on it now. And the lamppost removal is being used nicely in certain areas that you almost don't notice it, and it's just like, oh yeah, there used to be a lamppost there. Like it's so nice. What we'll probably find, and I think Obst said this before, and it's probably going to end up being true, a combination of all of the tracks tonight is probably going to end up actually being the best. Like certain parts of one with other parts of another. There might end up not being a single track that like does everything the best. Really interesting to see the different ways that the tunnel, the bridge over the tunnel is one of the main major focal points of the track and one of the most difficult bits to do. I would imagine that's where some of the creators would start and then build around that once they've figured that out. And it's really interesting to see the different ways that the creators have tackled that. Super solid. Right. I'll get ahead of myself. I'll switch my perspective to Xbox. You guys are still seeing the PS4. Am I the only one who smoothed out the exit of the tunnel? I think so. I don't think... That one definitely didn't. And I don't think Ben's track did either. I mean, we're seeing these like with 4 laps. it's not enough to like give a full-on judgment of each track, but it's at least giving the idea of how each track is like. I'm gonna probably I'm probably gonna go back and look at these things and see how each one is different. There is one more race on this playlist in PS4, but we're not going to do it because it's just Drag Kings, and I just left it in so the playlist would remain. It would remain in the playlist. So I'm going to exit on PS4. You guys can continue to do that race if you want. I ended up getting kicked from the session on Xbox. Is anybody in the Xbox session still in the session? And again, I don't necessarily need to... Let's see if this works. Right, I'll go to here. All right, I'm joining on as. Let me switch back to PS4 so I can close it. Turn it off. Back to Xbox. Thank you, PS4 Submissions. They were all really good. So that's the exact character list version he made 1 to 2 years ago. The only thing he fixed was a hitbox. He was very short on time due to uni and life, sadly. I guess maybe my my thoughts have changed then. That's possible. I mean, you know, thoughts are allowed to change. Yeah, it didn't... I guess it wasn't as aesthetically impressive as the first two, but it was probably the most solid from a racing experience, at least initially, like in most places. So yeah, shame that he didn't have more time to sort of go back to it as he would have wanted, but yeah, it was good. All right, so in an Xbox session, as quick as that, there's only one submission on Xbox, so I'm just going to load up the job. He added the paddock building thing when that came out. That's probably what it was. That's what added the character. Los Santos GP, that's the original one. There we go. Made by Pawn, this one. Our only Xbox submission for LSGP Challenge. It's really interesting, this, playing them back to back and seeing them all. And like I said, this is the first time seeing them. Very high quality stuff. Right, 4 laps. Sports B, we're going to stick to Sports B each time. We had people ready in the session, so that's all perfect. We'll do a harmonic start. Check the map. Looks familiar. All of these tracks have been so derivative tonight for this content creator stream. Now with less character in the description. I believe the ASP was supposed to get a special livery like the S2 for logging in last week, yeah. But they're always slow with adding them. Oh yeah, controller, remove that. We can't use controller cam for Xbox. Thank you, Frozen. We'll do a harmonic start between 10 and 15 seconds on me. I'll start us off, but then I'll pull off to the side and go from the back. And then I'll load up PC and we'll do 2 tracks over there. Mayo's joining from single player, isn't he? Is it pronounced ASP or ASP? It's pronounced ASP. Because it's all capital letters, ASP. If they wanted it to be pronounced ASP, it would have been capital A, lowercase s, lowercase p. It's not the word ASP, it's ASP. I guess I'll use the Neon. I'll try to use a different car for every race. It just depends whether I have enough different cars on PC that are in Sports B. I think I've got the Schlagen GT maybe on PC. I'm not sure. It's pronounced Devastate. I know that ASP is a reference to the Cobra, but that's not how they've made it. That's not the name of the car. It's like people who say Devastate is pronounced Devastate. No, if they wanted it to be pronounced Devastate, they would have made the car name Devastate. It's Devastate. Ah. That's not how it works, Carman. Well, that's not how the English language works. I think it is. So, same track again. Oh, almost got wrecked. Ooh, a different take. Putting the propping further into the tunnel there. And then I saw a blimp further around the track, so at least the blimp is still there. I've noticed a distinct lack of blimp on the other tracks. Hey, Summer. Sorry, Summer, I can't give you attention. I'm trying to race and showcase tracks. She's too cute. Oh. This is the Neon. Remember, everybody in this race, you need to do a pit stop. I know that this is only the first race we've done on Xbox, but everybody's got to do 1 pit stop during this race, and you can't do it on the last lap. It's got very good acceleration. Electric car. Yeah, you like the Neon?
Are there more electric cars?
Yeah, there's a few.
Really?
Yeah. They've all got good acceleration. Yeah. Oh yeah. They only have 1 gear in GTA electric cars. Well, you know how cars have gears?
Well, yeah, but I've never used the gearbox in GTA.
Oh yeah, yeah. You never use a gearbox in GTA, but the cars do have a gearbox, and you go up the gears.
When you go...
Yeah. So this whole area's been very like prop heavy, smoothed over. It's nice. I think there's been, like, in comparison to the others, this one seems like the most sort of smoothing surface changes. Alright, you three up in front. You're going to have to do your pit stop on the last lap. Well, on this lap that you've just gone on to. Nice pit lane. And again, like the whole the black road surface, the props. Like covering over quite a lot of the road surface. Really, really nice into the tunnel. I quite like that. But again, it's showing a different sort of take on it. Oh, man, this neon's a handful. The smoothness is nice. I do quite like it. I'm not averse to, you know, keeping the track originally bumpy. Yeah, probably the red and white on the tunnel entrance doesn't look the best, but from a smoothness perspective. This guy hasn't done his pit stop, I'm pretty sure. Person in second now. Everybody else has done one though. No brake boosts on the main straight is good, I agree. Yeah, and I'm now thinking back to the first track and the smoothness out of the tunnel. I actually can't remember it now. I need to go back and watch it again. I just remember it being nice and like a nice transition out of the tunnel, but I guess that's why, because it was smoothed out. Don't have the jump. Yeah, the entrance to the tunnel is really nice. You shouldn't even be here! You haven't done your pit stop! Got him. That was nice. Let me turn on the PC. It's just the different ways that people have gone about creating the same thing. I just find it fascinating, and it's just they're all so good for so different reasons. Thank you guys on Xbox for waiting around for everything for me to just do that one race. But I like to, I wanted to showcase all the tracks on all the platforms, and we had submissions on all the platforms. And even though there was only one on Xbox, I wasn't just going to ignore it or something. So, yeah, I wanted to. Right, so we'll move over to PC. Should have put it in a playlist with copyrights version just for the comparison. but we've already played the original version of the track, the Stunt version. Where have you been? That comparison has already been made. Oh, I've changed it to the wrong thing. That's why it's not working. I was wondering why it wasn't working, but I changed it to the wrong input. There we go. That's what we wanted. These seamless transitions, though, between platforms, all thanks to the HDMI matrix. 4 inputs, 2 outputs. Switch them how I want. It complicates things a little bit when it comes to you know, having to showcase things in one stream on 3 different platforms. But I think we've made it work.
Calling later. So make yourself scarce.
Right. We've already got a session thanks to Phil. I need to turn off the Xbox One whilst that's loading.
Are you cooking for me tonight, boy? Hey, Dave.
I will say if someone does want to steal anything from my version for some sort of master track, I'm totally fine with that. Oh, well, we appreciate that, Pawn. That's what it might be that, you know, there is like the best version of the track incorporates sections or parts of all 6 submissions. That's a definite possibility. I've seen things I like in all of the tracks. But yeah, I would never just, you know, steal creations from people. It's like people would have to give permission to be able to use, you know, those tracks for one master circuit sort of thing. That's how it should be in the creator community, and getting permission and showing respect to other people's creations. Right. Just gotta add 2 tracks. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Just needed to check that there weren't any like creator tags or something that were gonna mess it up. Oh, am I an idiot? I might be an idiot. It's very possible that I'm an idiot. I have a different account for PC. And it's possible that I've added all the tracks on my main account for PS4 and Xbox One, but I haven't added the 2 PC tracks to the other account. Let me check. That's exactly what I've done. God damn it! It was all going swimmingly. I have to join again so that the list refreshes. Seamless transition ruined. I make custom tracks on Xbox One and no one ever joins. Well, submit them to the content creator community verified program. The testers will test them, and then you'll actually get some feedback and get an idea of if they're any good or not. Join the content creator hub so you can get them played and tested and improve them. Get involved in communities. Right, let's try that again. It's alright, it was just a small break in the proceedings. Right, I went for this one first, and then there we go. How did the races go this morning? One went well, one less well. But it could have been worse. Uganda Panda. A classic iRacing experience. Alright, 4 laps. We're going to keep doing Sports B. Pit stops for everybody in the races, as always. And then we'll still get our Drag Kings in last, since it's at the end of the playlist. And we got the controller cam back as well. This has been so weird, switching between all the platforms so quickly throughout the course of just a small stream. Again, harmonic start on me, and then we'll have the top 5 from the first race go to the back for the second race, and then a harmonic start for whoever's at the front for that. Oh, I know this layout. So again, the 2 PC tracks haven't utilized any of the additional things that PC creators can use just to make it have an even playing field. I wish Rockstar would just allow all creators on all platforms to use all these things. Why can't you use controller cam on Xbox? We've actually got a command that explains it. Is that command on YouTube or not? Alright, Schlagen GT, that could be a different... I'm still on with using a different car in every race. It's basically because when I plug the Xbox controller into the PC to be able to get the controller cam in the first place, it thinks I want to use it on PC. When I plug the PS4 controller or the PS5 controller into the PC, it stays connected to the PS4 or PS5. The Xbox controller doesn't do that. It disconnects from the Xbox and connects to the PC instead. Right, so the first race for the PC submissions is made by Young Bright Hawk, and I seem to remember him chatting in the chat on the Discord about he was taking a different take on it, sort of making a similar experience to the original Stunt version, but how that would be created sort of modernized, I think, rather than like going completely separate to it as I think that's what was said, but I don't want to paraphrase too much and speak for what he was saying because I might be wrong, but we'll see. Why is there an absolute mess of cars back there? Again, very similar. All the creators have done sort of like they've taken very different approaches to it, but they've all done a very similar thing on the bridge crossover, and I find it fascinating that like the widening of that sort of right-hander has been so prevalent across all the creators. But then again, I guess the extra lamppost removal has kind of lent itself to make that possible. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, it feels... Oh, big brake boost there on the hump. One of the parts of the brief was to hopefully smooth things out to minimize brake boosts. But this corner's been made, yeah, wider on the sort of that apex has been brought right out on that right-hander to give a much better line into the tunnel. Kind of like to force a better line. Like it was generally a good idea to sort of go a bit wider to get a better line into the tunnel. But yeah, the widening of this corner has been kind of the same in most of the versions. But yeah, this one feels sort of closer to the original Stunt version that we saw as the second track in this stream. Like I can see how he's gone about taking that like base and reimagining that as a more modern creation, rather than creating something completely from scratch and ditching everything sort of thing. Even the pit lane and the way that the sort of the walls are around this section is like the same. It's interesting. It's really interesting to see all these tracks and the way that they've differed. Alright, everyone who hasn't done a pit stop yet, which I think was like the top 5 or top 4, you've all got to do it at the end of this lap. Can't do it on the last lap. So yeah, around here, forcing a wider entry, smoothed over as well into the tunnel. We still got the jump there, but a bit of smoothing there, which was on the original Stunt as well. This Schlagen is not the best car for LSGP, I'll tell you that for nothing. It's got great top speed, but it's definitely lacking in the grip in comparison to what I've been using during this playlist. Not that much time to get your top speed done and used up on LSGP. I mean, if that's an easy brake boost to hit, then it's not the worst thing in the world, I guess. Because, you know, it's the sort of thing that everybody can do every lap. They're generally a bit easier to hit on PC though, I suppose, but... It's still tricky, that double right-hander. But made more sort of straightforward to but it's less. It's still less. It's sort of less clumsy. They've all been better than the original version and the old Stunt version. This one's given me the feel of the original version, the original Stunt version I should say, closest to that, but obviously like modernised, how the Stunt version could be if it was made sort of in the same way, but better. I'm torn on the tunnel entrance. I think the new Apex makes it better, but I don't think it makes it as good as the smoothing that we've seen on some of the other tracks. It's really interesting, that one. That was a different take. I like that. Alright, so top 5 from this race to the back. I'll start a harmonic start again. Supers B again. And then this will be the last one. Sports B, sorry, not Supers. I don't know why I said Supers. Oh yeah, look at that innovative layout. So original. It's amazing. These creators they've all come up with the same layout, and we just happen to have showcased them all on the same track, on the same stream. No originality from any of these creators anymore. All modern tracks are the same. Another Rockstar Verified clone. Yeah, they're just taking that Rockstar Verified track from back on old gen and yeah, just doing it again. Do I have a different Supers B car? The Jester RR is Supers B, and I think it's fully upgraded on PC. So I'll use that. I just bought all these for the PC showcase and haven't really looked at them since. So the final version is created by Bratlien. Bratlien with our final version. So we've had Fiolence, Benstorr, Jacko Wacko on PS4, then Pawn on Xbox One. Actually, it's PW3N. I don't know how you meant to say that. Puen. Then the PC submissions have been Young Bright Hawk that we just played, and Bratlien for the last one. The Jester RR might be in C, but at the absence of anything else, I'll use it. It'll be nice to have a different car for every race. I'll go off at the start though, since it is in C. I'm in a tier lower. Very minimalist on the wall, first of all. Ah, same thing done. Both PC creators have done the same thing with that apex extended for the entrance for the tunnel. Interesting. Nice and wide there. Ooh. So there's some smoothing and some not smoothing on that section. Bit of smoothing over some of these bumps. Kept it somewhat open around there. Again, the catch fencing is pretty nice. Around the final corner. Let's check out the pit lane on the first lap. Ooh, we come out of the pit lane much earlier. Interesting. Oh, I feel like that could be the cause of some crashes, surely. Remember, pit stops for everybody. You got to do them on laps 2 or 3 at this point if you haven't done it at the end of lap 1. Still feels the wider apex, the later apex to make the wider tunnel entry feels good everywhere except the sort of the clumsiness on the initial right hand turn when you're going like just before you get to the entrance to the tunnel. Before you've stabilized it out, it feels really clumsy. Interesting that some of those the curb boosts have been left in. I didn't expect that Schlagen to be so slow, to be honest. Gone into the pits, so I'll just continue. I suppose I have just raced the Schlagen. It isn't the best on the corners. Yeah, I get that with the pit lane. If you end the pit lane before you get to the start finish checkpoint, you don't have to choke it down. But I wonder whether, you know, does it really matter choking down the pit lane into one lane when, you know, you're going so slowly due to the slowdowns anyway? Just feels somewhat, just feels a little bit more dangerous coming into the high speed traffic at the angle that the way it was, rather than at a sort of more smooth. The fact that you actually sort of got a turn, I mean, into the road. I don't like those 2 curb boosts left there. It was the same on, was it Ben's track as well on PS4? Like, leaving them open. I feel like you might as well smooth those if you're going to smooth all the rest of it. Yeah, the fencing really works on LSGP. That's been the, like, one of the main takeaways, I think. The catch fencing just really works. It just fits the track so well. Bonk. still undecided on this late apex. It's clumsy there when you go sort of off, like up off the air, off the ground. But it does make the tunnel entrance so much better. And that's always been a bloody clumsy moment, especially on lap 1 of LSGP in that tunnel. But some of the smoothing on some of the other tracks were beautiful, so it's difficult to know which one's the best. The annoying thing with the grid prop, the fences, is that you've always got to use a whole grid prop to use it. Yeah, they don't, Rockstar don't just give you the fence on its own. You've got to use the starting grid. Not bad for a C-tier sports car. Man, I don't think I could pick a favorite right now. Yeah, that's the thing. Smoothing, you've got to consider prop usage and prop amounts and limits. You know, you've got 200 props to use. Smoothing the tunnel entrance costs a lot more props than putting the apex a bit further out, and that's the balance. And that's why we're seeing these differences, that people and creators are choosing to put their prop usage that they've got, the limitations of it, into different areas. I've actually already forgotten the original one. The first one. Like, I need to go back and look at that one now. I need to play through them all again. Alright, we'll restart the stream, play through them all again. Right, Drag Kings. We'll finish with Drag Kings as we always do. One lap craziness. A different layout. Let's do something from 2013, because this track was created in 2013. Customs off. Is there a vehicle in Sports B? If we keep using Sports B, but customs off, and something from 2013, I guess that's the Fiolence. The Fiolence the only one. Alright, everybody in a Fiolence. Stock Fiolence. Whoops. Stock Fiolence for everybody. This track was made in 2013 on the day that the creator was released, and the only car in Sports B tier that is from 2013 when the game was released is the Fiolence. Everything else is DLC. Crazy. So we'll do the Fiolence like we did the Entity on the first track of the night. And we'll stick with Sports B. Yeah, really good creations. Thanks to the 6 people who submitted tracks. They were really, really good. There's something in every one of those tracks that is better than, like, there's something that every track does better than all the other tracks. Like, there isn't one of those tracks that does everything better than everything else. And I think that shows the skill and the talent of everybody who's submitted something as part of this LSGP Creator Challenge. Well done, all the 6 creators on that. Great creations, and thank you for doing that. Well, obviously, I'll go and go to the community verified testers, and we'll pick an overall winner of the challenge, because that's, you know, part of it. But when it comes to sort of hopefully creating something for, you know, to be the next generation version of LSGP, oops, I'm gonna have to think about it, because yeah, there's parts in every track that is done the best. Just pick the first version as the winner. The original OG race version with the crossover intact. Come on! As always, thanks for watching. Yeah, a collaboration track made up of the best versions, best parts of all of them would be interesting, but that's again something that each creator would have to be okay with. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really impressed, and thank you guys for showing me all these different variations of the same track. It's been really cool to see. So good job to all the creators. Maybe on Expanded and Enhanced we'll have like more than 200 props to work with. Probably not, because it's Rockstar, but it would be nice. Where you can really sort of take the best of every single part of it. Without having to think about prop usage. But yeah, we'll figure all that out. The most important thing, I think, was showcasing all of these great creations, and that's what this stream was all about. So thank you guys for watching and being here, and indulging me in showcasing the tracks from this content creator battle from the Content Creator Hub. Thank you, Verdlith, for the $1 donation. That was fun. Thanks to all the creators. I echo that. Thank you, Arta, for the $20 super chat as well earlier. And yeah, I'll see you guys on there's not going to be a YouTube stream this month, remember. No more YouTube streams this month. There'll be another one starting in September where we'll start up the content creator streams again. And the final weekend Twitch stream for 2 weeks, because I'm not going to be streaming next weekend on Twitch, is tomorrow, and that's going to be on Project Homecoming with random races and all that kind of stuff as well, so feel free to check that out on Twitch tomorrow night, this time tomorrow basically. So yeah, thank you guys so much. See you all either tomorrow on Twitch or next month on YouTube. Thank you guys. Bye bye.